Have it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the helmet catch right there. And we got the man with the helmet catch. But I digress. And I must let Teddy intro this superstar on.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is known for his incredible catches in the National Football League. A man hailing from the great state of New Jersey. He's played for the New York Giants and the Baltimore Ravens. This gentleman is not only a former NFL Pro Bowler, but is also a first-team All-Pro, which stars the best players at each position during a given season. From the University of Syracuse, go Orange, give it up for Mr. David Tyree.
Hey, yo.
Go.
We here.
David, first of all, thank you for coming on. How are you and your family doing?
Man, we're doing great, man. Obviously, everybody's endured a crazy couple years here. So a lot of movement. Some people most probably don't. My wife married 17 years and a father of 7 children. So we always got a lot of moving pieces, but we navigate.
Hey, that's a big family. That's a big family. I'm sure the holidays are fun. Maybe a little bit expensive, right?
Oh, yeah. Everything gets expensive. Costco gets expensive.
Oh, man, I don't even want to think about college yet. But look, David, we're here to talk about you. And what I'd like to do is start with the early years. So you're born and raised in New Jersey, where you grew up in a one-bedroom household with your mom and sisters. Now, the reason I bring that up is because I think all of us go through some sort of adversity in our lives. But how did that experience at a young age help shape you into the man that you are today?
It was fantastic. I grew up early. Obviously, I'm an Essex County kid. Moved from East Orange to Montclair, where I would say the formative years were thinking like middle of fifth grade. And that's where we were in a 1-bedroom apartment. So everybody knows Montclair is a great town. It definitely changed the trajectory of my life. But nothing, as much as, we had some lack, and, it was our life and we were getting along. And I had a great support system. My mom was fantastic. My dad was around the corner in Orange, divorced home. And yeah, it was enough adversity. I think everybody divorced home, shape challenges, needs, influences. So I got into a lot of stuff, but by God's grace, I was definitely able to just kind of navigate it and land in a safe space.
I love the optimism. I think that's what, really kind of carries you to the next point. Some people let them get it down, and some people really learn to bounce back and say, the grass is greener and things are looking better. And I mean, talking about Montclair, because that's where you played your high school ball, where you're a 3-year varsity letterman in addition to blue chip illustrated All-American. So you're staying somewhat local for college as you attended Syracuse University as well.
Yeah. Yeah, man. They were the first on the trail coming out. And like I said, Montclair had this football DNA imprint to it. Of course, if you're local, in New Jersey, a lot of history with that school. So I definitely fell into that love affair with the town, and it served me well. I found my fair share of struggle, run-ins in middle school, cops, and all that kind of stuff as well. So I found my fair share of trouble. I definitely dragged myself through a lot of mud, but I was able to really, calibrate behind, my sister kind of planted a seed when I was young. My oldest sister went to the military, and she said, you can get you one of them scholarships and go to school for free. And I was like, just play hide go seek in East Orange. So that kind of shifted for me in the early years. And just to see that first piece of mail come through from Syracuse, it made all the sense in the world where I finally landed with the old Big East, some of the glory days.
So, David, obviously, as you mentioned, Syracuse being a local school, you getting that letter. Were there any other factors in picking Syracuse?
Yeah, I think it was definitely, I think I have this loyalty thing. But at the end of the day, at the time, they were kind of really running the Big East. The Miami was in the down years with the slap for recruiting violations. They've had a few of those. And Donovan McNabb was running the show in the Big East at the time. And so they had just won the Big East championship. Michigan and Tennessee were the opening 2 games of my redshirt year. I mean, it just couldn't have been bigger football at the time. So, I took my visits to Virginia, Iowa, canceled. Nebraska for defense would have been interesting being a black shirt. But, like I said, I felt like I had more to contribute at Syracuse, but it shaped me to become the man that I was. So it was good.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, you're staying close to home too. I mean, that's certainly not a bad thing. And I mean, David, look, during your time there, you ranked 13th on the career receiving record list with 1,214 yards, but also a reputation as an excellent special teams player with not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 blocked punts.
Yeah.
We got to give you credit on both sides of the ball, my man. You're a little versatile.
Yeah, man. I think no one, becomes a highly recruited athlete and expects to become a special teams maven, right? So that was really the shaping of who I was as a football player. And it's like, how do I find a way to shine and contribute to this team? So I wasn't the weight in the gallows kind of guy. It was just like, well, if y'all gonna hate on me as a receiver, I got to go out here and knock somebody's head off. So I'm a true football player. Like, I'm built different in my mindset. Being a two-way player in high school, I just had to have it. And, so that was definitely the mentality. But, it was a special time. They actually, in a bowl game, I actually I guess I decleated the punter. So they didn't count one of my block.
So we would have had 7.
Oh, 7. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I really had 7, but, I think he bobbled it and I blasted him, so maybe, we'll call that 6.5. We'll see. I got to talk to him.
Do you want me to change the Wikipedia page? I'll
do
that.
Man, we got to go change it, because they got me tied with people. I'm like, we be tied.
Nah.
Set apart, baby.
Yeah.
Well, David, I think you're underselling yourself on being a wide receiver. I mean, you had a career game against Virginia Tech in 2002. Do you know how many yards you had, right?
I'll never forget it, baby.
For the viewers.
Yeah. It was special. Let me tell you what made that even more special, right? It was, I think when I've always had this, there's not an inferiority complex. I always believed that I was that dude. I think you have to believe that in able to perform. But when you don't have enough people or, whether it's lack of opportunities or, I wasn't the twitchiest guy, right? So we had some elite athletes that, maybe just didn't have the grit that I had. So short story, the sweetest part of that game was, of course, it was against Virginia Tech and they were surging. But even more so, I blocked my 3rd punt against Virginia Tech in 3 years in that game. So sophomore year, junior year, and I just remember blocking that punt and shooting them the triple. So it was a lot of pieces that made it extra sweet. It was a special day.
I mean, so you had 9 for 229. Is there a certain point where you just feel bad for the corners? So Michael Thomas did this in college where he would tell the corner what route he was running. He's like, yeah, you still can't cover me.
I would it was euphoric for me because obviously I never get that many targets. And, it's like, this is happening. We doing this. We finally doing this. I was kind of like, you're in the zone. So I ain't get to talking too crazy with those guys, but it was special. The sad part about it was, how do you get 229 yards and not score a touchdown, right? It's like, but they were all unique breakaway plays, and like I said, I couldn't get in the zone, and I actually ended up going head to head with Ernest Wilf, who had a great NFL career, and he has like 289 with 4 touchdowns. I'm like, damn it! It was a crazy game, triple OT.
Oh, man. I love that. I love that 229 is staying in your head with that. So, David, I mean, look, you live every player's dream when you got drafted by the Giants in the 6th round of the 2003 NFL draft. And I want to give you credit because I think for every 6th rounder, people bring up Tom Brady or Antonio Brown, but a good amount of people don't make the team. And you brought versatility. You're playing wide receiver, but also being a standout on special teams. And that's something I think a lot of people aren't willing to do, is to do whatever is asked. They say, hey, I've gotten to this point being a receiver. I'm not willing to change. I'm not willing to do the glorified part. So I want to say kudos because I think it's a big thing to put your ego aside and do what's best for the team.
Yeah, I think the underlying reality for me was I always grew up in spaces where I wasn't like the guy, I've always been talented. Of course, you have to have a certain measure of talent, but I was never on the team. Like even with getting recruited, we had a guy, George Stanley at Montclair, who was the New Jersey State Player of the Year. So like even in there, it's kind of like I'm getting D1, but he's the premier guy, premier recruit. So it's always dynamics that I was never intimidated, but it was like, you know what? I got a lot more to prove. So every opportunity to get on the field was an opportunity to prove. And that's how being a special teams maven. I have a son in college, and I'm just trying. I wasn't even like thinking about the NFL until I had my son, and I'm like, man, I got to give him the best opportunity I could. Of course, now looking at the opportunity to provide amazingly, and have that opportunity at the NFL, let's kill him on special teams. I think I had 20 tackles as a senior at Syracuse, so that definitely paved the way. The Giants were clear, like, yeah, we're drafting this guy as a special teams guy. And I heard him loud and clear, and I just felt like I knew I could add a little spice even in the receiver room.
And David, the spice you added, I mean, you made your first Pro Bowl as a special teamer. But for the viewers, I got to ask, while you're amazing at both positions, did you favor playing special teams or wide receiver more?
No, you always want to shine at your natural position. But what I actually, the crazy thing about me was I wanted to do both. Like, I remember my third year, which was the year I actually made All Pro. I actually came out of training camp as the third wide receiver. I killed it. And, I was never the favorite guy. Like I said, they had some higher draft picks, but I can compete. I'm going to be the guy who knows what to do. I'm going to be assignment tight. I'm going to have the savvy, the mental fortitude to position myself to compete. And my receiver coaches knew it. And I think, that was young Eli. So, nothing was just the cohesion wasn't really there in those games. I had a solid game against San Diego, 4 catches for 52 yards, a touchdown, but also fumbled the reverse. So I think
no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
Only we're talking about the bad stuff, right? But every knock was like a big knock. That's what I felt like in my as a receiver. But I was still doing special teams. So I'm third wide receiver, and I'm on the core 4. So the endurance was a big thing for me. Like, I'm doing what most people can or won't. I want to score a touchdown and get the tackle inside the 20. And like I said, I definitely have done those things. I wish I had a little more opportunity to do it consistently.
Gotcha. Well, I want to talk about your side on the offensive. So your first season, you catch 16 balls for 211 yards. Pretty impactful out of the gate. Not that 229 in one game at against Virginia Tech. We'll let that slide. So second year, you go 10 for 155, getting your first touchdown too, which is pretty cool. Hopefully you have that ball in the man cave of yours somewhere. Okay. All right. I love it. Following season in 2005, you had 5 for 52, but you had your first Pro Bowl appearance, which Teddy had mentioned, which decorated your resume. So following that in 2006, you had your best statistical season at wide receiver, 19 catches for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. In that time frame also, you also had 60 tackles. So once again, we're not leaving out the other side of the ball. We're including that as well. You might have stopped some touchdowns on those tackles.
Oh, definitely, man. Like, it felt so great to be a force, and I think what I knew coming into the National Football League is, of course, there were the Steve Taskers, who was the first to really bring an imprint into, impacting the game as a special teams player. So there was definitely so many more that had gone before me. But I think I was definitely different. Like, I was backdooring before backdooring was a term, as far as beating defenders across their face, going behind, using speed, using your skill set on special team. Number one, it was just fun. Hitting people was fun. Like, so I think like I said, I just had a different mentality, and it was a great grind. I think what the Giants grew to understand was they could rely on me, and they wanted somebody better at their third wide receiver position, no matter how I competed. And I think it took me a while to kind of be content with it. You never content or complacent, because I'm striving to be the best, and I think my peers understood that. But I think they had me in a tough spot. We got one of the best. We got a premier special teams player. If he's doing that, he's the best. If he's doing less, so it was a tough spot to be in. But I brought a ton of value, and we shifted the tide with that Giant organization through my years.
Yeah, and I mean, David, your time is coming. So 2007, 2008 season might be one of the best of your life. I don't know why. So look, regular season we don't have to go into, but let's dive into the playoffs. And we actually had Brandon Jacobs on the pod last year, who said after the Week 17 loss that they were motivated to see the Patriots back in the Super Bowl. And I know, being a wild card, you had to go through all the teams on the road. So the first 3 games of the playoff run against the Bucs, the Cowboys, and the Packers, You had one catch for 4 yards on 2 targets. Needless to say, you had an increased role in the Super Bowl with 3 catches for 43 yards, 1 touchdown on 5 targets. Did the coaching staff let you know that you'd have an increased role in the biggest game of the season?
I think no, they didn't necessarily let me know. Here's the funny thing about that season was Plaxico is fairly died. He didn't practice a lot that whole year with an ankle injury. And he started practicing back toward the very end of the season. And then he has like some glitch in the matrix the week of the Super Bowl. So I'm taking now what I've been used to taking all his reps all year long. This dude, hot dog in the practices and showing up and balling out. And which is actually an amazing feat. But I kind of felt like we were right back at the same play. And I didn't realize that it was really a possibility he might not play. So of course I'm preparing like a starter. And I guess you would say another well-documented experience was the Friday practice where I'm dropping everything.
Oh my gosh. Getting the drops out early though.
Hey man, listen, probably the worst practice in NFL history. But the funny thing was like, I didn't even think that much of it other than it sucked when I was going through it. I'm like, I'm a pro. What the hell's going on? But at the end of the day, it's like you leave that poor experience, poor performance right where it was. Eli dapped me up after the practice. Hey man, we know you'll be ready because that's what I was. When the lights is on, I was ready. And so it wasn't about thinking about a increased role. It was about I was always ready. I was always prepared. I didn't have enough opportunities to feel like I could ever waste it. So that was always my mentality and just being prepared for that moment whenever it came.
That's crazy. So everything you said, but Eli Manning daps people up? Eli Manning seems like
Yeah.
the guy that gives a wet noodle handshake.
It was kind of that. It's like, hey man, I know you'll be ready, man.
The year's 2022. I bet Eli Manning still doesn't know what a dap is.
It's fantastic. Like he's the best. He's always got the Eli faces, right? The storied Eli faces, and watching him come of age was definitely special because we had the formative years where the bull moments and all that other stuff. You knew he had a certain pedigree, but watching him come of age and of course in that playoff room, just kind of that playoff run, grow up in front of everybody was a special thing to see.
Yeah, and I mean his 2 best postseason runs come beating Tom Brady, so we can't leave that out. But look. I'd be remiss I didn't talk about the elephant in the room, which is the helmet catch. You've been probably asked 100 times about the catch, everything leading up to it, etc. So I want to come at it from a different angle. We've seen guys whose careers are defined by a mistake, such as Bill Buckner with the ball going through his legs, and he lives in infamy for that, basically has to hide. You might be one of the few athletes who are defined by something positive. When you made that catch, did you realize how much your life was going to change?
Honestly, no, I didn't even have a clue. I just knew I made a big play. I didn't see the catch until I got back to the hotel. So I didn't see it post game. I didn't see any replays. We get back to the hotel, of course, the celebration mode by enjoying a family. It's euphoric, right? You in the moment. I'm giving Eli all the praise because that's half the miracle to do. You can blow on Eli, he would fall over, right? So it was a sick experience. And then I'm like, all right, let me go get something to drink. They had the replays playing, TV's on, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, I had no clue. So it wasn't until like hours later where I actually saw it, and I was like. And of course, it's like the next morning, ESPN wants to get you before you go. It was just the storm began, and I didn't really realize the impact. It took a little while, just kind of in the moment.
Have you picked? Go ahead, Teddy.
Well, and that really stands out to me. As an athlete, we all want that big play, but at the end of the day, we are athletes trying to work our butt off. So that just shows that competitor in you that you didn't look. You were looking about the team's win, looking at the team, praising Eli. So that stands out as a big part of who you are.
Yeah, I'll tell you, to speak to that, it's kind of like there were moments where I always felt like I had huge performances and we lost. And in my past, I remember I had like almost 20 yards against St. Joe's Montville in high school. Like anybody who knows Jersey sports, that's when we used to play against parochials. It was a big deal. We were ranked in the nation. I had my best game, 3 touchdowns, and we ended up losing that game. So I kind of put all of that kind of individual stuff away at a young age because it takes the soul out of you to have a great performance and not win. And of course, my catch was in a 2-minute drive. So as much as you knew it was critical, it's not until it's triple zeros on the clock where you can really celebrate and enjoy it and relish in it. So it was definitely all those factors involved. And so, yeah, when we get to that moment, it's a moment for me being that underdog guy who definitely believed in himself, I think, and even whose teammates believed that he could do more than what I was positioned to do. It was a moment of affirmation. It was like it was a moment of fulfillment. So, and it was everything.
And David, something that stands out to me, you dedicated this catch, obviously your last one you ever made, to your mother, who died of a heart attack that year. So, prayers and thoughts of your family, but that must have been so special.
It was, man, a big part of when I kind of get the opportunity to speak and share. And I'd say pain, leads to perseverance. Perseverance leads to providence, right? Or promise. And I think that's a progression that everybody can connect to. There's painful experiences in the human experience. And that's what draws the most out of us, but also shapes us and causes that perseverance, that overcoming dynamic to come forth. And then you get the promise, you get that providence. And so that's a progression that we could all identify with. I know that's why that helmet catch rings loud in so many people's memories and experiences. So I always love the stories that are associated with it. So I know what it means to me. I know it means a lot more to so many people.
Have you paid for a meal in New York since that catch?
Paid for too many damn meals, fellas.
Too many damn meals.
Listen, I'm coming back out here in these media streets, and I'm letting the world know. New York.
Back.
Well, you know what? I don't name drop, right? So it's like, and
you don't wear your jersey everywhere you go,
right? So I don't name drop. I don't call ahead. Hey, man, David. So I'm sure there could have been some favor extended. I'm just not that dude. I'm like, if people, I definitely had a few meals, early on, but they stepped back into that full price. I'm like, I guess I can't be up in the city like this. Y'all ain't too many kids out here. Y'all ain't treating the brother.
Yeah. Maybe when they see the name on that check, then you get that 100% employee discount. But
you would hope and expect. But yeah, I guess I gotta. Don't worry. We're gonna get out here and talk a little more. I'm sure the love is still real in New York.
Oh, of course. And David, I want to talk about your post-career ventures. So you've been on Battle Cry. You started Next in Line, which is a project that counsels teenagers in your hometown. You're also the owner of DT3 Enterprises. You're starting your own podcast. I mean, technically we're competitors now. But I want to give you the floor right now to plug your podcast, plug the DT3 Enterprises.
Yeah, I mean, like I've done it all, but I've been working within the NFL ecosystem for a long time. Player development, athlete development. So the coaching arm is real. I've always had the opportunity to speak, wrote more than just a catch back in 2008, 2009. So we'll look forward to bringing more projects and storytelling, man. I think my life has been an imprint to not just inspire and motivate, but to bring impact and change. So that's what I've been doing with athletes. That's what I look forward to doing with businesses. So that's going to be the speaking and consulting arm, executive coaching arm. And so, yeah, check us out, man. DavidTyree85.com. You'll see all that. Catch the Moment will be dropping April 27th. It's going to be super exciting. The podcast is just going to be simple. We're going to have amazing conversations with people across industry, people who have had their moment, right? Or looking or aspiring to have their moment. And we really want some of the grit behind it. We want the process. We want the journey. We want the pain points, because everybody is more than their moment. So I can identify with that. Everybody is more than the pinnacle of success that they've achieved. And we want to get that out, because that's what people need to get to where they're going.
So when your podcast does drop, where can people find it? It's going to be on Spotify, Apple Pod, YouTube version. Absolutely.
We hitting them hard. So just look forward. I'm going to be teasing actually this week, trailer teasing. And like I said, we inchworming, but the momentum is building, fella. The momentum is building.
Oh man, I can't wait to listen to that first episode. You tease me right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got two listeners right off the bat. Talking with David Tyree, a man that's just more than football. David, we like to get our guests out of here with a little triple play rapid fire, some this or that questions. I can guarantee you haven't been asked some of these before. You game?
Let's go for it, man.
Let's go.
All right. What's the better Giants jersey, the blue or the red?
The blue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you got the white one in your background, but it's the helmet catch. But okay. Would you rather lose the ability to lie or believe everything you're told?
Oh, lose the ability to lie.
Okay, that's good. You don't want to be gullible.
Nah, I'll pass on that one. I believed enough bad stuff.
Would you rather live in a world where you had to dance instead of walk or sing instead of talk?
Sing instead of talk. I'm telling you, I'll be out here singing all day. I'm me.
I'm surprised that you never did Dancing with the Stars. Like I don't know why I thought that you were on one of those seasons.
I definitely haven't been. Like I said, I'm a dude I'm built for the light, but I don't do the limelight. Like I'm people will know my moment, but I'm like, I don't do fake stuff.
I love it.
Love it.
Get into that plastic world. I love people because I know they're real people, but
It's a little too scripted.
I get that Jersey grit, man. We keep it 100.
Okay. What's better, a water balloon or a snowball fight?
Oh man, that's tough. I'm gonna have to go. I gotta go snowball fight. I got memories of Dumb and Dumber, and it just doesn't get better.
It's nostalgia right there. You picked the right answer. Would you rather your only mode of transportation be a donkey or a giraffe?
Oh God, man! I guess a donkey. Just
you can say you're hauling ass.
I'm with that. Hauling ass.
Okay. What is your favorite cereal?
Oh man, that's crucial. I haven't had it so long because it's so bad. Golden Grams.
Golden Grams, David. Come
Yeah,
on.
it used to be Apple Jacks.
Those are good.
Yeah, I used to be a classic Applejack guy, but I got away from, getting older, you get away from the bad stuff too much, so yeah, I haven't had no golden, don't tempt me, bro.
Okay. But I'm a little disappointed about Golden Grams. That, you didn't give the obvious Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Captain Crunch one. So
they high on the list, it would have been like, I'm definitely in like the Kellogg's family, Apple Jacks, Frosted Flakes, high fructose syrup,
Okay. I love it. Would you rather experience the world beginning or the world ending?
Oh, definitely the world beginning.
That's what I figured.
A lot of people know faith is a big part. I would love to see how this thing just came to be. Bam.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, David. We got 3 questions left, and I saved the best 3 for last. Do you pull your toilet paper from the top or from the bottom?
Oh, from the top.
From the top? No.
Yep.
No. David.
The thing comes down like a waterfall, bro. Like what is?
But think about this. What's easier to do? Pull-ups or chin-ups? Chin-ups, you pull it from the bottom.
Yeah, but chin-ups are for weak cowards, man. I know it's an exercise, but it's the alternative. Come on, man. We build character around here. Pull it down, baby.
Oh my gosh. What is with these athletes and saying you're pulling it from the top? All right, fine. Would you rather fight Mike Tyson once or you have to talk like him the rest of your life?
Yeah, I guess we're going to be lisping it up,
But that might affect your podcast ratings.
Yeah, it'd just be amazing. And we're going to get the podcast done anyway. So it really doesn't matter.
That's actually a pretty good Mike Tyson.
That was really good.
You're making the smart business decision. You don't want to be famous for anything else. So the last one, and I had to tie it in one more time. For the rest of your life, would you rather never be able to watch the helmet catch replay again, or you can never talk about it? So like if you watch it, you can't talk about it. But if you talk about it, you can't watch it.
I'd rather talk about it. So, because I don't go back to watch the helmet catch. It gives enough Like I get my annual revisits randomly. Like usually, honestly, I don't watch much TV, which is the reason why I've been slow to media. I'm like, I can't keep up, So I got 7 kids, bro. So yeah, I'll talk about it. We have some good dialogue and share memories, and kumbaya moments.
Do you share those memories with Rodney Harrison at all?
Yeah, he doesn't like to talk about it too much. I got so much respect for that dude.
He's great.
It was almost like, through the years, you could see how angry he was early on.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost like a healing process because he was on TV getting bantered. I didn't see this, but like I would always hear about it. And I felt like if he finally came to some closure a few years back where it's like, hey, man, it was just, I had my one moment. You're probably going to get a yellow jacket, like you're probably going to get one eventually, right? So I'm like, but now I totally understand as a competitor how tough that can be. So now we haven't had too many conversations.
I feel like the only redemption, like mild redemption he could be, is if you guys were like playing in the park and Eli throws it up like a 500 ball and he gets the interception. Like obviously it's nowhere near the magnitude, but he's like, all right, I got him on one time.
No doubt. Hey, listen, man, like I think that's what makes it such a miracle at the end of the day. All the factors involved says this wasn't supposed to happen. Eli should have been tackled. I have a 31-inch vert coming out of the combine. I'm the black guy who can't jump. I mean, like Rodney Harris is there. 18-0 Patriots. That's what makes this, to me, undisputably the greatest play in NFL history. But just to be in the conversation is more than I ever could have dreamed out of coming out of Essex County, Montclair boy. So it's been a fun ride.
I mean, look, you can say it's number one. NFL can say it's number one. We can say it's number one. We can't make a graphic like this for anyone else. Shout out to our guy, Toby. So,
No
David,
doubt.
I really want to appreciate you coming on. Before we get you out of here, tell everybody where they can find you. I know that you mentioned your website. Where can they find you on the socials? All that good stuff.
Absolutely, man. Most active on Instagram, Tyree85. Twitter is Tyree Nation, but hit me on the gram, man. We're doing some wonderful things. Businesses, companies, be on the lookout for the pod. I got a lot of local stuff that I'm looking forward to doing, and just shooting the breeze with good people and making great things happen, telling good stories. So yeah, check the website, David Tyree 85. Any inquiries? I'm local. I'm here in the tri-state. We're going to be grinding. Well, lots of projects to look forward to in the future.
Man, let me tell you, we've been on this for 33 minutes. I've never felt so much positivity in my life. Everybody make sure you give them a follow. Check out that website. Let's get that SEO traffic up. And for everybody that watches Triple Play, we really appreciate you tuning in and check us out for some future content.